Hey guys, welcome to an interesting video on Wild Rifts. They're back with a Corki updated complete guide. Now, I know a couple of videos ago I said that I expected Twinguard to get nerfed, and it didn't get nerfed yet. I still think it's gonna get nerfed, especially on ranged champions. And same goes for STERAK'S Gauge. I still think STERAK'S Gauge is gonna get nerfed on ranged champions, but I decided to name this an updated complete guide because as of now, this is still the best build for Corki. However, with that said, I'm gonna put the caveat that if like Twinguard and or STERAK'S Gauge gets nerfed, especially on ranged champions, then this will no longer be the updated complete guide. So you can look at my previous updated complete guide to see what the latest build of Corki is. So in this case, the latest build of Corki would be the one that has like Mana Immune, Triforce, Riftmaker into Solari Charge Blade, and like a GA or something like that. But yeah, just refer to the previous Corki complete guide before this one to see that complete guide if one of these items get nerfed. But with all that out the way, let's just jump straight into talking about Corki. Now, Corki is and always has been a very strong but underrated champion, and the main reason why he is like very underrated is because a lot of his power budget goes into his package, which is really strong in team fights, but can be really hard to use because especially now, they did get the cooldown, not the cooldown, but they did have the duration you can hold the package going down to only about 30 seconds, which sounds like a long time but really isn't because you don't always have an opportunity to use the package, and this leads to either number one, your package timing out, or number two, you getting baited into using a bad package like inting into the enemy team, etc. And this is mostly a problem because in solo queue it's really disorganized and your team doesn't really play around you in your package, whereas in like pro play, for example, people can play around the package and Corki is a lot stronger there. But of course, Corki, another thing about Corki is that he is a magic damage dealer primarily, and a lot of times your team already has magic damage and you need physical damage, so you can't always pick Corki in any single given match. But aside from that, Corki is basically just a very strong like ADC who can also be played mid as well. He has really strong poke with his Q and his ulti, especially with this build, really strong auto attacks as well, and just really strong scaling champion. So without further ado, let's jump into talking about his updated tank build. Now I call this the tank build obviously because you have two like tank items basically, but you start off with your normal core items. So first off, you start off with Mana Immune. Of course, this gives you ability haste, gives you the mana and gives you AD. Eventually it'll evolve into Mirror Mana, which of course will give you the extra like mana conversion into damage on your spells. And of course this works very well with your Q and your ultimate in particular, and yeah, mainly resolves Corki's mana issues as well. So on the Triforce, you get even more ability haste, attack speed, attack damage, and health. The attack speed and attack damage is really helpful because Corki has to auto attack in between casting abilities to proc the Spellblade passive, which of course allows you to deal physical damage equal to 200% of your base AD to proc your Spellblade. So you want to like ulti auto attack, ulti auto attack, that kind of thing, auto attacking in between. And of course, health for the tankiness and, of course, ability haste. Rage passive for movement speed, also very useful. Then we go for stasis pretty much 100% of the time. Main reason for this is when you hop in with your package, you're generally going to be in a bad position. So the stasis can help you to buy time for your team to help you out, which happens very often. And for the boots, you really have a lot of options. You can go for Gluttonous Greaves, which now gives Omnivamp, so it's really useful for his healing. You can go for Ionian Boots for even more ability haste, but personally I don't think this is needed. And finally, you can go for one of the defensive boots, which of course, obviously it gives you more defenses. So yeah. So next up we go for Riftmaker. Now Riftmaker again gives you more health, so again even more like tanky. So more health here, and it of course gives you AP, which Corki does scale off of, just not as good as AD, gives you even more ability haste, and gives you the 12% Omnivamp. And lastly gives you the Void Corruption passive, which allows you to deal true damage, and in this current tank meta, this true damage component is really important. So, next up we go for STERAK'S Gauge, which of course, first up gives you 400 max health, so this again another tanky aspect of Corki, gives you 50% base AD as bonus AD. So basically what this means is whatever your base AD is, you're getting half of it as bonus AD, which basically in simplistic terms, your AD times 1.5 basically. So you also get a lifeline passive where when you drop under 35% health, you get a shield equal to 75% of your bonus health that decays over 3 seconds. So if you notice with this build, aside from the 400 health here, you also got 250 health here and 150 health here. So you're getting a total of 800 extra health. So this shield that you get is going to be huge because you have 800 bonus HP and 75% of that is 600. So you're going to get a 600 HP shield off of the STERAK'S gauge, which is absolutely insane. And aside from that, you also get 30% tenacity for 8 seconds, and also you get increased size. Now, increased size obviously is not something that you want, especially comboed with the Twin Guard increased size. This kind of becomes a bit problematic because you don't want to be that huge, but you kind of are going to be. But at this point when you reach Twin Guard, you're going to be so tanky to the point it shouldn't really matter all that much. Like the tankiness from Twin Guard, STERAK'S gauge, and like the lifesteal from like Riftmaker makes it such that you're pretty much unkillable when you reach full build, unless you like literally dive into the entire enemy team. So Twin Guard obviously gives you 55 of each resistance, and obviously after 5 seconds you do get that extra passive where you gain 30% of extra resistances, which combined with all the health you have is going to make you extremely tanky. And of course you also get additional 20% tenacity, and with the STERAK'S gauge that's a lot of tenacity, and additional 20% size, which again, as I said, is not very desirable, but you know, sort of comes with the package. So anyways, talking about runes and spells, we're gonna go for Conqueror because it's pretty much the only rune Corki can take. Gives you extra AD and lifesteal. Go for Brutal, which of course increases your damage on your auto attacks against champions, which of course you're gonna auto attack in between casting abilities, so this is really helpful as well. Bone Plating, because this is pretty much the best resolve rune now, blocks a lot of incoming damage and helps you in the laning phase a lot, as well as from assassinations. And finally, I like to go for Mana Flow Band. Now the last rune, you have a couple of options here. You can go for more ability haste, you can go for Sweet Tooth for like laning, and you can also go for Nimbus Cloak just for general utility. But the reason why I like to go for Mana Flow Band is pretty much this is mainly only to help in the early lane, like the first like 5 levels or so, because Corki runs out of mana incredibly quickly in lane. With the Mana Flow Band, this is going to help you out a lot in lane, and you're not going to run out of mana as easily. And also later on in the game when you have the Mirror Mana, this basically just converts to a little bit of extra damage. It's not a lot, but just a little bit of extra damage. So for the spells, Flash and Exhaust, excuse me, as usual. And that is pretty much it. And now we can jump straight into the gameplay. Okay, so into the gameplay itself. Now, as usual, of course, if you guys are enjoying the video so far, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And of course, any questions, queries, or remarks, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I will be, of course, sure to address them. Okay, so why did we pick Corki this match? Well, as you guys can see, we ended up having a full AP Nunu in the jungle, but we couldn't see that. We saw a Zed mid. So at this point, we just went for the Corki because I assumed that our team wasn't going to have any AP, so I went for the Corki. But turns out our team did. But anyways, honestly, as I mentioned in one of my previous videos, at this point, I think in the tier list actually, at this point, Corki is such a strong champion with like the STERAK'S and Twin Guard with this new build, that it honestly doesn't even matter at this point. You can even pick Corki into a team that has 2 AP champions. The only thing you need to be wary of when you pick Corki is that your team must have some other form of AD. Like, you don't want to pick a team where you have like a Gwen top, you have like a normal like mage mid, you have like a Evelyn jungle, and then you pick Corki ADC. Like that's gonna be a horrible team comp because the enemy team can itemize, magic resist, and you're basically just screwed. So anyways, jumping back into the match now. Level 1, I took a pretty bad trade there, lost most of my health, but the fact that I have the fruit and Nami pretty much makes it such that we're back to an equal state in the lane. And Corki's early lane is pretty simple. Here we see Camille pulling up. We don't want to panic and flash or anything like that. We can simply just walk away. Nami hits a beautiful bubble which allows us to get in a little bit of poke using our like auto attacks and our E, but obviously we cannot like really kill anyone here, so for now we're just gonna do whatever damage we can. Here Nunu is coming in with the snowball, but nothing really comes of it. And yeah, so early laning phase on Corki, all you want to do is do this basically. You want to just keep tossing Qs on your enemies and make sure that they are poked down. This achieves two things. Firstly, it makes it such that they are pressured and they take free damage whenever they go for last hits, like as you guys can see here. And secondly, it sets up your lane for jungle ganks. If your lane is full HP, jungler is never gonna it's never gonna be an attractive gank for the jungler because it's really difficult to like 100 to 0 someone. Of course, it is possible and it happens all the time, but it's so much easier to go for a kill on a half HP target than a full HP target. So all you want to do here is you want to CS, as you guys can see here, and then you want to toss out your Q, whenever you can, and try to hit the enemy with the Q as often as possible. Of course, the Q it's not easy, but it's not hard to land either. Like it is very predictable. Corki's gonna launch Q, so you know that you want to dodge it. But at the same time, it's quite a big area, so it's not that hard to land either. Now here, for some really strange reason, the enemy team has been hard shoving this whole match, and they suddenly decide to back, like out of nowhere when the wave is just right in the middle. So here I'm just gonna clear out the wave, like you guys can see here, and I'm gonna back. And yeah, they do come back before I managed to back, but anyways, it's not such a big deal. I'm just gonna hit under tower instead, and I'm gonna back here instead. And yeah, so here backing, I managed to pick up my tier, almost getting towards the mana mean already. Of course, charging up my tier with 1 Q and 1 ulti to get like 14 stacks on the tier. Here I'm just gonna hit back into the lane now. Ezreal is not the fastest pusher, so he cannot really crash the wave that quickly, so this allows us to reach back to the lane right as the wave is crashing, so we're not really even going to lose minions. Here we're using our spells to focus down the minion wave to thin it so that they cannot like harass us with the help of minions under tower. So we clear the wave pretty much instantaneously because we do have a lot of AoE damage, and now the next wave is back in, and we pretty much have a relatively reset wave state. Now the important thing here is to pay attention to enemy itemization. Ezreal also went for a tier, and he doesn't have Sheen, so Ezreal without Sheen does a lot less damage. So this helps us a lot if we want to fight them like this. Here Nami hits a beautiful bubble, I follow up. However, just so happens that Camille is here. Here I exhaust the Camille and dodge the Lux ulti. Again, here I'm not flashing because I know that I'm not gonna die. Here I pick up the fruit, and here I'm trying to like basically do damage to anyone. Here Camille flashes in for some reason. I'm not quite sure what the plan was there. I nearly end up dying in the end though, so maybe that was the plan. But I wouldn't really be doing that if I was Camille. Either way, we managed to get a free kill onto, not really free, but we managed to get a kill onto the Camille. Now here I was really surprised that Ezreal just jumped straight in and decided to kill me here. That's really aggressive for an Ezreal. But anyways, Nunu is here to clean up. Ezreal flashes away, but doesn't matter. Nunu is gonna finish off the kill. I thought that it would be crazy for anyone to just jump into the tower like that, and I was thinking that if he did that, I probably could like kill him with the help of a tower shot and a QE or something like that, but I died instantaneously, so no real chance to do that. So I guess I underestimated not only his damage but also his willingness to just dive me under tower just like that, especially when he's that low. But anyways, this Ezreal has been playing really aggressive compared to like normal Ezreals. Like he's hard shoving the wave, he's diving towers, etc. So here, as you guys can see, is kind of the problem I pointed out at the beginning, which is I have my package, but my team isn't exactly ready to fight. So here I'm going onto the dragon, and I'm looking for a way to use my package. The enemy team is on Herald, so here I'm using the package to knock the Lux away and pretty much get a free kill onto the Lux. Ezreal has to Arcane Shift away and run basically, which gives us a free dragon. The dragon is honestly relatively free anyways, because the enemy team is all contesting for Herald instead. So we do trade dragon for Herald, and we do pick up a free kill on Lux. This is the main reason why I think it's a pretty bad idea to contest objectives if your jungler is not here and is going for the other objective. Like here the enemy team clearly was going for the Rift Herald, so there's no reason for Ezreal and Lux to come over to the dragon. There's nothing they can really do, and most they poke us out like a little bit, but they put themselves in unnecessary risk like what you saw there. I could easily just jump onto the Lux and easily just pick up the kill on her. Here Lux hits the binding onto Nami. Here I exhaust the Ezreal to prevent him from finishing off Nami, and here we're onto the chase onto the Lux as well. And you can see we do relatively decent damage already, and this is like only on like mana. I mean, we don't even have mirror mana, don't really have any items. And here we can pick up 2 tower plates as well as collect this wave before we back. So here in the early stages of the game, it's pretty much a completely generic Corki build. There's no like fancy stuff like going for an early STERAK'S or Twin Guard or anything like that. We're going to get our 3 core items of Triforce, Manamune, as well as Riftmaker first before we start going to our tank items. But when we go into those tank items, boy, we really get tanky. Like that 800 bonus HP from all of our items combined is a game changer compared to like if you go for like a full crit Corki where you get no extra health at all. This Corki is so much like tankier. I kind of love playing this like tanky Corki. It's really fun to play, and it's really strong at the moment. So here Lux, you know, kind of gets caught out here. Now here I thought this was a free pick, but we unfortunately get hit by like the full Lux combo. I tried to flash the Lux ulti, but unfortunately the root lasted just a millisecond like too long, and I end up getting hit by the full Lux combo, and Ezreal finishes off the job. So a little bit unfortunate here. Thought we had a free kill, but actually we didn't, and yeah, so just a little bit unfortunate there. Fortunately though, with that kill we can actually pick up our Triforce, which is actually what we do. Now just waiting on the evolution of the Manamune to the Mirror Mana. Now here, notice how I'm not taking the package because there's no Dragon or Herald up, no real usage for the package, no huge fight happening at the current moment, so no real reason to pick up the package. So here Nunu looks very interested in going for the Ezreal. I'm more interested in the wave because I didn't really think that Ezreal will be sticking around. Turns out that he kind of does stick around. Lux takes the snowball for him, and here I'm just trying to play the aim game onto Lux and Ezreal with my 6 charges of ulti. Here Ezreal almost backs, but I do manage to stop him with the ulti. Again, I get full comboed by Lux, which nearly 100 to 0s me, but here I finally get the snipe onto Ezreal. Another hit onto the Lux here. Another miss, another hit, another miss, etc. So here I decide the easier way is to just shove in this wave and let Nunu tank up the tower whilst we dive. Lux knows she's in trouble, so she decides to walk out and try to trade the kill on me before she dies, which is the correct move. I nearly end up dying to her. I pop the exhaust on her just in case, and thankfully we do survive by the skin of our teeth. And now we're going to be able to back and pick up a couple of more items. Or rather, we should pick up this wave first until we see the rogue Katarina, and then I'm gonna just decide to back and not risk my life, and I'm gonna stand even further back so Katarina doesn't get any funny ideas of diving the tower, because after all, Katarina with Electrocute can just burst like really quickly, really easily, so I'm not sure if she has Electrocute armor or not, so I'm just gonna play it safe. So here I'm getting myself the armor boots together with the stasis. Armor boots, of course, is generically useful because it does reduce damage by 15%. So it's just gonna be like generally useful if you don't know what boots to go for. So here, huge fight happening. I have the package at the ready. Here I'm looking for a good package. Here I split up the team with the package. Unfortunately, Lux goes to the wrong side. I wanted to hit her to the other side. Here I'm popping the stasis, and unfortunately no one helps me block the Ezreal shot. So honestly, I think Nami could have like stood in front of me to prevent Ezreal from killing me, but at the end of the day, we end up trading like 2 for 4, which is a good trade at the end of the day. So it's not all too bad. And in the meanwhile, Nunu is just picking up the Rift Herald, not hitting the Idol, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, so he's gonna pick up the Rift Herald either way. Zed gets engaged upon in the mid lane, gets insta-bursted, tries to ult to avoid damage, but nothing really happens. Nunu comes in next into the whole enemy team, and here I'm trying to see if I can help him out here, and he instantly gets a double kill. Like he 100 to 0s Lux with 1 ulti. I guess that's what full AP Nunu does. He only has 1 Rod of Ages. I have no idea what that one shot is, but he literally one-shot that Lux from full HP to like 1 HP just with 1 ult, which is pretty insane. But anyways, here I'm just gonna pick up the fruit. And then Dragon is of course up, so we're gonna hit over to the Dragon. Camille, who is their jungler, is dead. So I even put the control ward here, make sure you know, no funny business is gonna happen from the enemy team. Nasus and Nami goes to try to zone them away, but unfortunately they come around the other side. We do secure the Dragon, and Ezreal is stuck in the pit, has to flash out, but we do get the pick onto Katarina, so that's still pretty good. Now a huge fight kind of breaks out here. I'm seeing if I can help. I'm pretty low though, so I'm not really too useful here. Here I'm just seeing if I can like snipe out people. Nasus comes in round the other side for some reason, and now they're all focusing him. This allows me to quickly collect the wave and quickly just return to my side of the jungle, pick up the blue buff and back, and Nasus with Zed's help is able to actually kill them all. Now Nasus of course has the STERAK'S with the Divine Sunder, so he is pretty tanky, also has the Bramble Vest, so he is really tanky, so they weren't able to kill him, and Zed was able to come in and clean up. Here we're just going to quickly clear out the wolves, as well as the Gromp, you know, just collecting farm where we can as usual. No surprises here. And all of our waves are kind of pushed in, so a little bit hard to farm waves. So here I'm just pretty much going on a trip around the jungle just to farm jungle, basically. And yeah, we pick up the raptors as well. Now here I was trying to help out the Nunu by tossing a Q, but somehow he consumes at the same time that I Q, which caused me to take the red buff on accident, which is definitely not intentional because we could have just buff shared anyways. So I did apologize. You saw me like standing still for a while. I did apologize for that. But anyway, you know, we did get the red buff, so I guess we got what we wanted, but definitely is not the best for our team or for Nunu. Now somehow Lux ulti does no damage anymore, even though she has like Ludens, which doesn't really even make sense. But yeah, that's kind of what happened here. So here, they make the mistake of engaging onto Nunu again, and Nunu like pretty much just uses his ulti, and yeah. So here I'm like kiting away, and I even pop my stasis to prevent myself from dying. I get the triple, but I'm left on 1 HP. Here I was thinking that I could go for a penta, so here I was trying to take this fruit and go for the penta. Here you can see I flash to dodge everything, and I end up killing both of them, but it turned out to be a double kill after that triple kill, which was really tragic. This would have been amazing, like penta, like going from 1 HP to going back in, flashing to avoid all of their abilities, and then killing them both. But unfortunately the game classified it as a triple plus double kill, which is pretty sad. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty sad. The triple kill timer is like so short, but only like it's like only when you get a quadra, like the quadra to penta kill timer is like really long, but the triple to quadra kill timer is still pretty short, which should be adjusted in my opinion. But anyways, we're gonna end up going for the Baron here. Obviously the whole enemy team is dead, or rather they're in the midst of reviving, so we're just gonna pick up this free Baron right here, and yeah, so we do have the package because obviously we wanted to be ready in case they showed up on time to contest the Baron, which was a possibility. But now that you know, the Baron has been secured and there's no fight to be had, package kind of has gone to waste. So here nothing too much is happening. Camille on the chase again. Not quite sure why she keeps engaging onto the Nunu, but we do end up killing her right here. Yasuo tries to go in, which is a big mistake. I exhaust him and now he's pretty much dead. Now Yasuo cannot go in on anyone on my team other than me, because if you go in on anyone that's not me, you basically CC yourself when you're ulting them, and this allows me to pretty much burst him 100 to 0 near instantly. Somehow Katarina doesn't pick up the kill on Zed or Nunu, and I managed to kill her instead. I have no idea like what's happening here, but the match obviously is descending into chaos, especially for them. And it's getting to a point where they are just dying non-stop. Nasus gets the inhibitor, gets the bot inhibitor. He can just rotate over to get the top inhibitor. Now here Nunu is taking the blue buff on the enemy side of the map. So here I'm gonna just pick up the blue buff on our side of the map.
Enemy turret destroyed.
And here, honestly, I was just farming the enemy jungle, trying to deny some farm. I realized that the enemy team is kind of semi-committing mid, where our Nasus and Zed are pushing, and I realize no one is really dealing with top. So my strategy for this is I will go top and I will push down this tower. So I secure this tower right here, and I'm also trying to secure this wave, this huge fat wave that has like stacked up here. And I realized that there's a fight happening in mid, so here I'm trying to rotate to help out in the fight. Don't want to really flank as Corki, so I'm coming around like I was trying to come around the back. Then I realized that, you know, they're all gonna die anyway, so that's when I hop the wall and see what I can do. So here again, Yasuo goes in on someone who's not me. So basically, as I mentioned, in the time that he outs someone, I'm gonna 100 to 0 him with my damage. And here, if you guys notice, I already have my STERAK'S, so I'm really tanky in terms of having like extra 800 health. I'm not even at the threshold where STERAK'S is being popped yet. And honestly, at this point, I don't have any components, but from all these like kills and towers, I've got enough gold to actually get the Twin Guard at this point. Here you guys can see I'm just face tanking everything and just killing them just like that. Here, you know, pretty much the game is won at this point. Here Katarina can't do anything, I exhaust her again. I'm almost at the point where STERAK'S pops, so here I'm just taking some tower shots, and you can see STERAK'S just briefly pop there. The shield didn't even come up all the way, and neither did the tenacity, but here you can see STERAK'S and Amaranth Twin Guard is really good on Corki. You didn't get to build the Twin Guard in this particular game, but yeah, 10 Corki is absolutely amazing. So you know, I'll leave you guys with the stats as usual. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.